Tennessee This Week from WATE's 6 on Your Side starts now.
Hello and welcome to Tennessee This Week. I'm Bo Williams. We've got a number of stories in the headlines this week we want to touch on, so we're going to bring in our panel of pundits to weigh in on some of them. We've got a crowded desk for you today. Craig Griffith, Julia Hurley, George Corda, and Michael Covington. Great to see everybody here.
Glad to be here.
Let's first talk about, let's keep it local here. We'll start things off. Let's talk about Mayor Kincannon. There was a big, we should note we're recording this the day before Thanksgiving. So when I say last night, I mean Tuesday. But there was a city council meeting last night, moving some funds as far as some of the parks and whatnot. But looking ahead to 26 right now, what needs to be accomplished here? What do we need to be looking for? What would you like to see from the mayor moving forward? George, since you're next to me here, I'll start with you.
I don't think she's going to have a very good year at all. They're not going to have the money they thought they were going to have. They've suffered two significant setbacks over Chilhowie Park and the sales tax increase. And a politician is like a shark. As soon as the shark's wounded, the other ones move in. And the mayor is the biggest shark in the city, and she's been wounded. So I think they're going to have a tough budget time. They're not going to be able to do the things they want to do. They're going to find more and more opposition from city council, and I think it's going to be a long year for them.
Julie, what do you think?
Part of that I agree with. I think she came into her seat with a plan for parks and expansion of some level that she wanted to increase the sales tax for. Couldn't really get an answer on the communication side of why that was needed, but now I guess she's going to do it anyway. So I think she came in with a plan. She's going to move forward with that plan. I agree with the point of there's a lot of opposition. I don't know if anyone else handles the Knoxville subreddit thread, but it was pretty argumentative this morning, and most of the comments were even against that use of funds. I think that she's going to have a harder time selling that to people down the road.
And there's still another vote to come through to confirm that fund. So Craig, let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, as we discussed on our post-election show, it's a turbulent time for the city administration now. And I think that the thing that people are going to look for are answers to the questions that are now unanswered. What are you going to do with Chilhowie Park now? What are you going to do with the former safety building site? Is that going to be developed? So there are a number of big ticket items on the plate, and how she handles those are going to be dependent on the working relationship she establishes with the new council. So we'll have to see how that works out. I don't see council coming up with many big projects on their own now, but there may be coalitions formed where you have a second to projects that you didn't have a second for before. So we'll have to see how that works out, and you have to work within the budget that you have, as every politician has to. So we'll just have to see how that works out over the course of time.
Michael?
The mayor wanted that retail sales tax increase. She didn't get it, and not only did she not get it, she got a stern rebuke from the electorate. 2-1, 62-38. That says we never wanted this, and you never should have advanced it. The community is against this wasteful spending, and those decisions that they made to move funds despite the community saying we really don't need to spend monies in those areas. The mayor's headstrong, and she's going to get the message. Voters are not for much of what you are proposing.
Big topic last night obviously was parks. You mentioned it, Julia, just a moment ago. George, is that should be the focus? I mean, what should be, if you have to pick something here and focus on moving forward?
Well, they've got all kinds of things they need to focus on.
So what should be, like, if you had to put the list and prioritize, what goes to the top? Or can you?
Well, I would give equal weight to two things, road paving and parks. But the reality is, if people wanted what she said she was going to do, they'd have voted for the sales tax increase. And they didn't, to Michael's point. So I've been in these budget discussions. This is going to be a rough budget discussion year starting in January. And they're going to have to decide, frankly, at some point, do we need to ask for a property tax increase between now and the time she leaves office? They really want to? I don't think they're really going to, because I don't think council will go for it. You got people on council who have political futures they're thinking about, and they don't want to be tied to a failing mayoral administration.
And that brings up a point, though. I mean, we do have a county mayoral race coming up next year. But the city mayor will be coming up after that.
There are things that Knoxville needs. Infrastructure is number one on my list. Affordable housing is number two on my personal list. But I don't think we're building the city of Knoxville for Knoxvillians anymore, are we? If that were the case, we wouldn't be selling $3 million condos the size of a jail cell. So I don't think Knoxville City is being built for Knoxville anymore. I think it's being built to outreach larger funds, outreach larger investors, and we're getting those every single day. And those things are and have been a focus for over 12 years in this market. So I think now that we're getting them, we do have to look toward a split of, do we build this out for Knoxvillians? Do we build this out for the people investing in Knoxville? Those are two separate sectors of the conversation. Without infrastructure, neither wins. We need infrastructure.
Craig, thoughts?
Well, I would say that the number one priority for this administration, as for I think most any administration, is public safety. If you do polling of the community, you'll find that feeling safe in your home is the number one priority that most people have. So, and you know, getting to the point of that Julie was bringing up, development has been an issue ever since I've been associated with city government. People want it easier to develop properties all across the city and the county, I might add. So we're having, we're having more developments go in. And I think that that's going to be accentuated if the people who say they are for an easier development process, a fairer development process, are elected to office. So we'll have to see, you know, I mean, you can't turn around and not find what seems to be a vacant piece of property that doesn't have apartments on it now. So I think that's the way we're going. If you want to continue to grow the city, grow the tax base, then you're going to have to make some decisions on development.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Michael?
Affordable housing is a misnomer. I know that my fellow pundits believe that affordable housing should be a first, second, or third priority. Affordable housing isn't even in my top 5, because if you're not promoting job growth that has earnings that will pay for housing, it doesn't matter how affordable you make it. You're not going to be able to afford it. You're not going to be able to afford rent. We've got developers actually building whole developments of nothing but lease properties. Those individuals will never get out of those and get into homes. So affordable housing, no, that's a misnomer. It's a farce. It's money going down a black hole. You got to find jobs for people that pay for housing. That will solve that problem. And it's a problem that may never get solved.
Julie, I know you're real estate.
It does feed into exactly what I just said. The houses that we currently have are well beyond the reach of the median income availability for people who are from here, who live here. We are no longer building Knoxville for Knoxville. We are building it to bring people who can afford Knoxville, and for that, those kinds of investors are looking for parks and recreational things to take advantage of when they bring their money. We are building Knoxville for non-Knoxvillians at this point. So infrastructure still would be my number one.
A developer told me that it costs, and this is one developer, told me it costs about $300,000 to build the average size house now. So that means if you're going to make a profit, if you're going to grow from that, then you've got to charge what, $375, $400, $425, and that's beyond the reach of a lot of people. But I don't agree with the philosophy that government can somehow create affordable housing. They can't do it. There's a market, the market dictates, and the city government is not going to say, we're going to have affordable housing unless they're prepared to build a whole lot of public housing. So the issue of how much it costs, this same thing happened to me when I lived in Florida. All the northerners started moving down, paying cash for houses that people had never worried about buying before, shot the prices up, real estate values skyrocketed. And now, I think I read the other day that Knoxville had the highest housing percentage cost increase of any city in the country. And it ain't going to get better soon, I don't think.
Joe, I see you nodding over there.
That is correct. Knoxville, Tennessee is the highest cost increase in the entire United States of America. Knoxville, Tennessee is also ranked 5th in the United States for relocation services. So again, we're not building Knoxville for Knoxvillians. However, you can build a house in downtown Knoxville and you can sell it for a profit at about $265,000. They're everywhere. Brand new shotgun houses are being built on these 0.1 acre lots all over the city of Knoxville. That's still considered affordable for the average American, not median Knoxvillian, but the average American. So technically affordable housing is available. It's very small. And again, to Michael's point, we don't really have the job sector necessarily to be attracting the people that can still qualify for even those homes at this point. So there are a lot of things going on in not just the city of Knoxville, Knox County, and the surrounding counties, and the state of Tennessee that are going to culminate into one big bubble that's going to burst of opportunity for someone to come in and solve a problem, or we'll solve it ourselves.
I know we need to have a break, but Craig, I want to let you chime in here for
I might point out that the average age of the first-time home buyer in the United States is now 40 years old. So if you're not starting to develop equity in your portfolio through housing until you get to be 40, I don't know what the future is going to bring for people who are faced with that problem.
All right. I tell you what, we do need to take a quick break. We've got more to talk about. Keep it tuned right here to Tennessee This Week. See you in a moment. All right, welcome back to Tennessee This Week. The Pentagon says investigating Senator Mark Kelley over video urging troops to defy illegal orders. Kelley, just one of several people in that video. Bring our panel of pundits back in. We should note Kelley was actually on Jimmy Kimmel last night. Again, we record this on Wednesday, so that was a Tuesday night show. But Michael, I want to start down at the end with you. Obviously, this has become a huge topic of discussion.
If the President of the United States is the bear, those Democratic senators and congresspersons poked the bear. He is going to come back at them, and he is capable of some very serious revenge. I mean, that's a part of his personality. And if you don't accept that, you're going to continue to be in his crosshairs. Mark Kelley feels as though his service justifies his being able to do things that are somewhat questionable. He's daring the administration to rattle his cage. If he was standing here, I could tell him, you can rest assured your cage is about to be rattled. Mm-hmm. If you think Donald Trump is not going to come after you and make life very difficult, you're mistaken. So it's the actions that are being taken, they're not going to go anywhere. But he's going to suffer a little bit as a result of this. There's no doubt about it.
We're going to work our way down the table. Craig, let me get your thoughts on this topic here.
Well, first of all, what they said, to my understanding and my reading of the Uniform Code of Military Justice is that a military person is supposed to not obey an illegal order. Obeying an illegal order does not give you any sort of liability protection for a crime if it's committed by a military person. So, I don't think that there's anything this investigation is going to come up with. I don't think there's going to be anything that this FBI investigation is going to come up with that's a actionable offense. So, what you're looking at are people who are challenging this issue of, destroying boats in the areas around Venezuela. The presidents can use their military authority as they see fit, as many presidents have, and have come up with, and people have died in the course of that actions. I think the main issue, one of the main problems here is that those people didn't die. Their kill was not put on Facebook by the Department of Defense. So the whole world knew what was going on. So anyway, I think that those people that are at odds with that policy are having a difficult time understanding why it's going on. And I think it's the policy that they're working on, I think, is wrong as well. If you look at the Department of Homeland Security statistics, only 2%, less than 2% of the drugs that come into the United States come by boat. So the drugs are coming in through the already open ports of entry across the country. I think that instead of taking action against these fishing boats, taking action at those border entries would be more fruitful in terms of stopping the drug trade. But a 20-mile picture of a 20-mile traffic jam at the border isn't going to work very well on Facebook. So, we'll have to see where it goes from here.
Julia, what are your thoughts?
I think the audacity runs high with this situation. It's very elitist, in my opinion, to sit in such a powerful position and attempt to sway the minds of people who are either newly into the military, younger people who aren't attorneys, they do not have law degrees, they may not have been in service for very long or have been in just long enough to possibly even understand the situation they are in. The audacity to try to undermine your president in this public of a way, the kickback he's going to receive is deserved at this point. I mean, putting anyone in a position to clearly state, oh, you can just disobey an illegal order, assuming every person knows the law, every person that's in the military has some law degree or ability to know exactly what they can and cannot do all the time. That is awfully a difficult situation to put other people in. I think that was disrespectful and really inappropriate.
George?
Well, I was on active duty in the U.S. Army for almost 6 years. And I can tell you there's not a soldier then or a soldier now or an American military person who isn't given training in the Uniform Code of Military Justice and the responsibilities with respect to following orders. Of all the things that the Democrats have done in 10 years to try to destroy Trump, which obviously haven't worked, he got re-elected again, this is the worst in my view. Because it's a direct request, reminder, however you want to couch it, to military members, don't forget, you don't have to follow illegal orders. But none of the people who were involved in that video can tell you what an illegal order is. And none of them can cite a single illegal order that they say has been given up to now. This is a political stunt. Every military member knows their responsibilities. Everyone. And the idea that they're going to come out, and don't forget, you don't have to obey illegal orders. I can only imagine what Democrats would have done if a group of Republican congressmen and senators had gone on TV and put out a video when Barack Obama was president and said, those drone strikes he's ordering, they've killed more estimated than 1,000 civilians who had nothing to do with terrorism. You don't have to obey illegal orders. The Democrats have gone nuts. And Republicans are going nuts. This has nothing to do with obeying. Here's what somebody ought to do. Everybody's suddenly an expert on the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But here's what people ought to do. They ought to look at U.S. Code 182387 because it delineates the crime of trying to suggest, motivate, urge military members to mutiny, military members to disobey orders. Because there are laws about this. And I think and Trump, if he could just keep his mouth shut, he's making himself the darn focus of this, and he's going to turn Mark Kelley into a left-wing hero because he can't let his staff deal with the lunacy that's coming out of that video. He's got to jump in and start talking about sedition, and it's punishable by death. That's just... Well, that's Trump, and it's dumber than a bag of rocks.
And even I think we saw the speaker, when asked about that, he was like, those may not have been the words I would have selected.
What the president meant to say was, it's just...
Well, I mean,
Michael, sorry.
Well, one thing Democrats knew for certain, George is right. When they introduced this, they knew Donald Trump was going to do Donald Trump. And that works to their advantage because he becomes unhinged. He won't let his staff do their job. He's got to get out there and use fancy terms like sedition. It just gets people worked up, and that's his nature. So this isn't going to go well, and it's going to be advantage Democrats. And I would imagine Barack Obama somewhere at the bottom of this woodpile, because this sounds like something he would orchestrate.
Craig, I got 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a battle created in social media. I think that people understand, yes, when you poke the bear, has been mentioned, you knew exactly what was going to happen. It was going to come out on True Social, and it was going to be outlandish, and the two sides are going to be at loggerheads, and we'll move on till the next poke comes out where he gets back on social, True Social.
All right. Hey, we need to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more Tennessee This Week. Stay with us. And welcome back to Tennessee This Week. Before we wrap up the program, we wanted to take a moment and reflect on the life and legacy of former Knoxville Mayor Randy Tyree, who had passed away this past week. Tyree, first elected mayor in 1975, served for 2 terms where he led the drive for the Knoxville Convention Center and helped eliminate the city's debt. He also put Knoxville in the spotlight by working tirelessly to ensure that our city hosted the 1982 World's Fair. Let's bring in our panel once again. And Craig, I'm going to start with you this time. Just your thoughts after you heard of the passing.
Yeah. Well, Randy was a wonderful human being. Being both involved in local politics, we would see each other at various events on a regular basis. And we would always sit down and have a casual conversation about the events of the day. And obviously, he took a more democratic view of it than I did as a Republican. But, you know, we could always come to an interesting discussion of the day's issues. And his tireless work for the World's Fair, which was, by most definitions, a wonderful success. And it moved to bring the city to a different level of national prominence. And I think it was because of his efforts, actually, that the fair was able to be put on and was a success. So I'll miss Randy. I think he was a very nice gentleman. He always had a kind word for you and was able to shake your hand.
Julia?
So my first thought was, wow, that's really sad. Knoxville lost a legend. And it reminded me of a time that I had met him. I was much younger, and I had met him with Harry Wampler and Lamar Alexander, and we were at the Howard Baker Center. And we were speaking, I mean, we're all on different sides of the table, right? And he says, "Do you like red cars?" And I said, "Do you like yellow cars?" And he said, "You know what's funny? We both like cars." And we all laughed. And everybody, it was just a moment of, we're all going to find something in common to have this great conversation. I felt like I was learning a lot from legends around me. And at this point, because we've lost one, that means that someone else has to step up and become that next mayor, that next Tyree. And who's it going to be? Like, what are we looking forward to? So I think he laid a great foundation for the Knoxville market to grow and become something. And I think we've lost a great person in that.
It's interesting you had that conversation at the Howard Baker Center, because Howard Baker's always known for, listen to the guy across the aisle.
Yes,
Sometimes
he
he might be right. You have to learn from that. George, your thoughts when you heard of the past?
Well, Randy Tyree first encountered him when he was running against Lamar Alexander for governor, and I was working in the Alexander administration. And then he's the reason I'm in Knoxville. He was running against Mayor Victor Ashe, in 1987, and I got hired to come over from Nashville and consult on the campaign because the wheels were kind of coming off a little bit. And Ashe won, and I became public affairs director and press secretary. And Randy Tyree, we always got along well. He was on my radio show once, and afterwards he said, "You got really good name recognition. You should consider running for something." Randy, not with a gun to my head, but he was a really nice guy, and I think he always meant well, and that's important in politics.
Michael.
I did not know Randy Tyree very well. I always associated his success with the World's Fair, and that being the reason that I came to Knoxville the very first time. What I noticed about him in any gathering, he knew no strangers. He recognized just about everybody in the room. He spoke to and greeted everybody in the room, whether he knew you or not. I think I met him before I knew him. And the person that I met treated me like he had known me for years, which I thought, well, this is what politicians are about. But you flip that script and you see that he ran several times. It just seemed like he would have won more elections in this area as well thought of as he was. And I just never understood why he didn't win some of those races that he ran, because he was highly respected and well thought of into death.
Moving forward, I mean, is there something you take away? Julie, you kind of brought up about the whole car discussion, which is still stuck with me.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something we need to take away here moving
100%.
forward as far as trying to work together?
100%. We all like something. We may just like different versions.